I want to give y'all my criteria on how I break down fights. Like I said, it's gonna be really specific. You know what I'm saying? I break down fights by style. I break them down by speed. I break them down by fighters' IQs, the power, the experience, technical skills, intangible things, which means that maybe not things that are necessarily quantifiable. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, we're gonna be giving predictions. You know what I'm saying, at the end of it. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and dive right into the first fight, man. And we're gonna go ahead and break it down. And the first fight is actually the biggest fight. The first fight is actually the biggest fight and the most meaningful fight to the sport of boxing right now, and that's Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez. That's the biggest fight right now. You know what I'm saying? It might not be the best fight ever, even though it's gonna be a good fight, a really good fight. But it's definitely the most meaningful fight in boxing right now. This fight is for undisputed. You know what I'm saying? Both fighters are undefeated. You know what I mean? It's going to be a very meaningful fight. You know what I mean? And I think we got two fighters that really proved themselves along the way to pick up those two belts. You know what I'm saying? So it should be a really, really good scrap. But like I said, we're gonna break it down, and I'm gonna give you guys a prediction on who I think is gonna win the fucking fight between Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez. Let's start with that first, because that's a banger right there. That is a banger. All right, so let's talk about their styles real briefly, right? So for me, Josh Taylor is more of a counter puncher. He's more of a guy who tries to, like Josh Taylor is one of those dudes who he'll hit and run a little bit, flurry a little bit, catch you in a little he does a little bit of everything. He's kind of good at everything. He's good at everything. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of rate his style like he's just a dude who does a little bit of everything. He's kind of one of those dudes. He does what's necessary. You know what I'm saying? Jose Ramirez, on the other hand, he's one of those guys who he's a very aggressive fighter. You know what I'm saying? He's very Sean Porter-ish at times, you know, where he'll kind of rush you in and he'll throw a lot of punches and bunches. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's a really good contrast in styles for Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor. A really good contrast in styles. Jose Ramirez is going to be rushing in. Josh Taylor is kind of going to be fighting off his back foot. But here's the thing about both of these dudes. Both of these dudes are really tall, but they fight on the inside primarily. You know what I mean? So, like, it doesn't even, for both fighters, it doesn't even make sense that they're 5'10", 5'11", you know what I'm saying, fighting at 140 pounds, because they're both looking to close the gap and fight on the inside. I think Josh Taylor is a little bit better at fighting on the inside, but we're jumping ahead a little bit. But Jose Ramirez is more of a pressure guy. Josh Taylor is more of a, I want to say, kind of catch you up in exchanges, counter puncher, a little bit like that. And he's also the guy who can kind of do a little bit of everything pretty good. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those guys. Okay. So that's how I analyze their styles. You know what I'm saying? Now let's talk about some speed. Let's talk about speed. That's first on the docket. Now I actually feel like Josh Taylor has the faster hand speed. I feel like he has the faster hand speed. But I feel like Jose Ramirez has the faster foot speed, because he rushes in so much. He's always closing in the gap. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those dudes that's gonna corner you really fast. You know what I'm saying? So while Josh may be able to throw the faster combinations, Jose Ramirez is gonna be the one that's gonna be setting the distance a lot. Even though Josh Taylor's really good at distance, I see Jose Ramirez kind of making him uncomfortable, creating that space and creating that distance. So it should be really interesting to see how, as the fight progresses, how they manage that distance, that space. It should be really interesting to see how that works, because Jose Ramirez is going to be looking to close the distance. Josh Taylor is going to be looking to to kind of fight off his back foot on the outside, and then at spots kind of fight on the inside. You know what I'm saying? One good fight that I like to reference for Jose Ramirez is when he fought Emir Imam. Emir Imam is a really good outside fighter. You know what I'm saying? And over the course of the fight, Josh Taylor was kind of able to, wear him down and kind of like, pressure him enough to get him to make mistakes along the way. You know what I mean? So I kind of see Jose Ramirez kind of being able to do that to Josh Taylor to a certain degree, thus making him very uncomfortable as the fight progresses. You know what I'm saying? So it should be very interesting in that aspect. But as far as hand speed, I give that to Josh Taylor. As far as foot speed, I give that to Jose Ramirez. The next category is going to be the boxing IQ. Josh Taylor has the better boxing IQ. To me, he's not as one-dimensional as Jose Ramirez. He has little spots in fights where he fights differently, where he'll close the gap and he'll fight on the inside, or where he'll back up and fight on his back foot from the outside. He doesn't typically fight on the outside, but you can see he can use that whenever he needs to. He'll use it for a minute and then go back to fighting on the inside. He's a little better at that than I would say Jose Ramirez. And to me, I equate boxing IQ with your ability to kind of give different looks, in the right spots. And to me, Josh Taylor has that ability to be able to give those different looks. So that's how I'm looking at that. You know what I'm saying? As far as the boxing IQ is concerned, Josh Taylor got that one. So far right now, I got Josh Taylor with the faster hand speed, Jose with the faster foot speed, Josh Taylor with the better boxing IQ. All right. Now to the experience. Their experience is pretty similar. I like the wins that Jose Ramirez has better than Josh Taylor. I like that Imam win. I like that win against Maurice Hooker from Josh Taylor. Those are two really, really good fucking wins. On the other end, Josh Taylor has some good wins against Regis Prograis and things like that. But I feel like Regis Prograis, Emir Imam would beat Regis Prograis to me. You know what I'm saying? Maurice Hooker would beat Regis Prograis to me. You know what I'm saying? But so I like Jose Ramirez's resume. I like his experience a little bit better than Josh Taylor. But ultimately, I feel like their experiences are pretty comparable at the end of the day. That's how I feel about that. All right. But they're equal. That's my answer. Then there's the technical boxing skill. To me, hands down, Josh Taylor has the better technical boxing skills. He's just more balanced of a fighter. He's able to do more than Jose Ramirez. He's able to shorten up his punches when he's fighting on the inside. He snaps his jab out a little bit more as he's fighting. It's just a little bit more technical ability than than Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez at times can be very sloppy. He can be very all over the place. He can be very, very kind of up and down with his boxing technique, thus kind of making him a little vulnerable and not necessarily having the best, thus making him not very technically sound. You know what I'm saying? As far as the intangibles are concerned, both these dudes, man, they usually come in on weight. They, both of them are undefeated. They both got that mindset where they come in a dog bits. So, I see both of them kind of like coming in like this should be a really good fight in that aspect. Nobody's coming up or down in weight. Both of these guys, for the most part, campaigned at 140 pounds. I believe Jose Ramirez might have moved up. I'm not sure. He might have moved up from another weight class, but he had enough fights. If he did, he had enough fights at 140 pounds to where it's cool. That's not even an issue. It's two guys at 140 pounds fighting for supremacy. So there's no real intangibles. You know what I'm saying? As far as my prediction, man, now let's dive into the prediction. Let's get to the fun shit. You know what I'm saying? As far as my prediction is concerned, I think I may have Jose Ramirez actually winning a 12-round decision, man. Because I feel like Jose Ramirez is going to make Josh Taylor very uncomfortable during that fight, man. And I feel like Jose Ramirez is going to hurt him a few times throughout the course. I don't feel like Josh Taylor has the skills needed in order to keep Jose Ramirez on the defensive. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like Josh Taylor has that level of skill to be able to keep Jose Ramirez off of him. So I actually think Jose Ramirez, man, I'm changing my prediction because ultimately I thought that Josh Taylor would win, but now I'm more kind of leaning towards Jose Ramirez. You know what I'm saying? I like Jose Ramirez wins better than I like Josh Taylor's wins. You know what I'm saying? So I like his experience a little bit better. I feel like Jose Ramirez probably has the better power. That was one thing we forgot to talk about, power. I think Jose Ramirez has better power. I think Jose Ramirez, actually, there is an intangible as well. To me, Jose Ramirez is going to be one of those dudes who has that dog in him. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be coming. You know, he's very Sean Porterish with his style. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to be looking to close the gap, and he's going to be looking to beat Josh Taylor to fuck up, man. But ultimately, I don't feel like anybody going to get knocked out during this fight. But I feel like Jose Ramirez is going to outwork Josh Taylor, thus making it a very tough night for him. I don't think Josh Taylor has the necessary skills to be able to keep Jose Ramirez off of him. You know what I'm saying? I don't think so. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just don't think so. Ultimately, I think this is probably like a 60-40 fight. I'll go 60-40 Jose Ramirez. Ramirez with maybe a late stoppage or 12-round unanimous decision. That's what I'm rocking with. That's my prediction for that fight. You know what I'm saying?